I might have just struggled spelling opinions. I'm not gonna lie. It was rough. Are you all ready, guys?
Yep.
Think so.
All righty. Welcome back to Around the Board, episode number 5. I'm joined today by the lovely, always here, Dallas Turner and Adam Louder. We're going to go over some interesting stuff. We got tons to talk about in the NFL, tons of cool things that happened this week and that are going to be happening in the next week. And then we're going to talk about our winners and losers from the first few weeks all the way up to this week 3/4, since we did have our Thursday night football game last night. As well as we're going to recap a few college football games and then go into the NBA season, which starts in less than 2 weeks now. All righty, gentlemen. So we're going to get right on into it. Last night, we did have a Thursday night football game. It was the Bengals. I did not write the score down. Dallas, can you tell me what the score was? I want to say 27-15.
It was 27-15.
So it was 27-15. Joe Burrow had 200, went 20 for 31. 287 passing yards and 2 touchdowns, while unfortunately Tua Tagovailoa did have 8 for 14, 110 yards, 1 interception, and was unfortunately taken out of the game due to a gruesome neck and head injury. Teddy Bridgewater did quickly take over, going 14 for 23, 193 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. Our hope and prayers go to Tua that he will return healthy, and everything looks positive so far, but hoping he gets better after that very gruesome injury last night. I don't want to pop any clips up. Don't want to show anybody anything. If you want to, go look at it on Twitter. It's a little rough.
I mean, yeah, I guess I'll go first about it. It's I think we can all talk about the football game, but I think we know the biggest story from this game is why they let Tua play in the first place. I mean, I know none of us are doctors, but after last week, I don't know how you could feel solid that he can play again. I mean, it was pretty obvious that he was not okay after last week with the concussion. I don't know why you don't play it safe. I don't know why you risk that happening again. I just don't get it. That's a terrible decision from. I know I'm not a doctor. I've seen a lot of people, a lot of pretend doctors, and a lot of real doctors, and then for everybody out there, try to keep your information right. Just don't fall into misinformation from people who don't know what they're talking about. So I'm trying to listen from people what I'm talking about, and people are saying that there's absolutely no way that he should play, and that what happens could be extremely serious, especially later on in his life. It could majorly affect him. If you have 2 concussions in 5 days, that's just going to be that's terrible. I don't know. I think it's a disgrace that the Dolphins played him. I mean, without the cause of the concern of him having possibly getting permanent brain damage if he gets another concussion. You have Teddy Bridgewater, who, as if you had any backup in the league who could take it just 1 game over for you. Teddy Bridgewater is not a bad option. I think he could still start on team, so it doesn't even make sense from that point of view. If you give Teddy a full week of practice, you still might be able to win the game. So it was a disgrace. I mean, I don't get it, and the NFL is going to have something to say, I think, for the Dolphins.
The NFL is currently launching an investigation on, first off, the game before last week against the Bills in week 3, and as well as this week into the concussion protocol. I don't have a lot to say. I'm gonna keep this very. I'm gonna stay out of this lane. Unfortunately, I will say. But I think, as Mike McDaniel said, I do believe every option may have been discovered. But we have seen it in the past few weeks that there have been quarterbacks who've been willing to play through injuries, even if it is not for the best of their health, but for the best of the team. And I believe that, hopefully Tua's okay. Hopefully everything goes good. It was good news to hear that he was on the flight last night, did get released from the hospital. So hopefully, he gets a few weeks to recover, get back, and he's healthy and ready to play without having any possible further prolongment down the road with this injury. But to kind of spin off the game was I'm gonna say it was fairly crappy from the Dolphins. It didn't feel very Dolphins-esque. We're just gonna go down the field. We're just gonna beat you with speed. It was just very. It was rough. It was rough around the edges, and I think this was the game that I was waiting to see. I was waiting to see if the Dolphins really were that flash in the pan team that we have all been talking about. They were the only 3-0 team going into this week in the AFC. The only other 3-0 team is currently the Philadelphia Eagles, who face the Jacksonville Jaguars. I was just kind of waiting to see if these last three games were just anomalies. I felt the Baltimore game was an anomaly. You can't score. I don't know who throws 4 touchdowns in the fourth quarter and if that's ever been done before. But that was insane. And then last week, as we all know, Isaiah McKenzie doesn't get out of bounds. It just kind of felt like all the dominoes fell right for Miami. I'm still not saying they're a bad team, but I don't know if they're going to be a week over week. We're just going to beat the brakes off you team. I think they're a good team, but maybe this is the speed bump that we've all been waiting to see, is if they play a good team on a short week of rest, banged up. They have a fairly banged up secondary. The only person who played 90 snaps in the game against the Buffalo Bills was Javon Holland in their secondary. So I thought it was an interesting game. The meter for me is still kind of pushing towards Miami, but I think they might make the playoffs. The AFC is very diluted right now with how many good teams there are. So Miami, I think this was their flash in the pan game where we finally saw it say, maybe we're not as good as everybody says we are.
Yeah, especially when you have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. They make you look real good out there, just throwing balls, and they can go in for a 70-yard touchdown any time of the week, just like they did against the Ravens. So I'll go back and say the Bengals defense last night gave up one deep ball to Tyreek Hill, and honestly, that was pretty lucky grab right there. Chidobe Awuzie had his fingertips all over that one double tip grab by Tyreek. That was really the only big play Miami had that was greater than 30 yards last night. I think Mostert may have had a 20-some yard run towards the end of the middle fourth quarter type range or third quarter. But Bengals defense did a really good job of containing the big play. Miami did try the big play. That is what they've been known for the first 3 weeks, is the big play. But the Bengals did a great job containing that. And I think it showed that if you can contain the big play from Miami, that their offense is a little bit stagnant. The run game is not very good. Chase Edmonds had like 5 carries for 6 yards, I believe. Mostert ended with 60, but half of them came on one play. They can't really get the ground game going. They tried a few end arounds with Tyreek. That didn't go anywhere. So I got to give credit to this Bengals defense, man. You know, I'm a Bengals fan. I was at the game last night, so I didn't see probably as many details as I would watching the TV, but I thought defensive line and linebackers did a very good job of stopping the run. I think the pass rush was not there for the first half, but with Tua in, I think once Teddy came in, they realized, like, this is our time to get some pressure, force some errant throws. Obviously, you saw a really bad throw by Teddy in the fourth quarter for Von Bell's second interception. I don't know if it was miscommunication or what, but pressure did affect it a little bit. And I got to give credit to this Bengals defense, man. I'm still not sold on Bengals offense just quite yet. T. Higgins did show up yesterday, but I still think Bengals don't take enough chances down the field. The running game's not there. The offensive line hasn't really been blocking for Mixon that well. 2.5 yards a carry last night. And I don't like that we just run Mixon. We have Pirine and Chris Evans back there, and they don't get hardly any snaps at all. They don't get any runs. You're going to run Mixon into the ground, and he's going to get hurt if he's going to run the ball 25 times a game.
All righty. I thought it was a better Bengals game. You know, the Bengals finally look a little bit better. Like they're still inching there. But I think they've dug themselves out of that hole now, getting themselves to 2-2. I do not know who they face next week. Dallas, could you let us know who they face next week?
Yeah, they're on Sunday Night Football at Baltimore next week.
So big game in the division. I think we're all going to be very interested to see that. Do we have any other takeaways from this game, gentlemen? Or are we ready to move on to the next segment?
I'm good.
I think we're ready to move on.
All right, I assume we're ready to go. All righty. So our next segment is we're just going to go over a few games from this last week. We did have the Colts beating the Chiefs, finally eking out their first win to bring them to 1-1-1, 20-17. The Dolphins did beat the Bills, as we said, 21-19 in the famous butt punt game. Brand new meme in the NFL that's not going to stop circulating. The Jaguars beat the brakes off the Chargers 38-10. The Packers squeaked out a very close win, 14-12 against the Buccaneers. And then the Broncos beat the 49ers in a wild Monday night game, 11-10. All righty, guys, what game do we want to talk about? I feel like Adam has to talk about the Colts game already.
Oh yeah, I got to talk about it. So I'm gonna be honest with you. I went over to a friend's house and I got drunk while watching the game, and it was the best. It was the best football game of my life. I enjoyed every second of it. Did we deserve it? Absolutely not. In my opinion, we absolutely did not deserve to win, but sometimes it happens that way. Sometimes you don't catch a punt and it gives us a free shot at a touchdown. You know, sometimes you say something to Matt Ryan saying that he's bad, which in my opinion is not wrong, and then you get a penalty, which allows us to go all the way down the field and score. So, you know, sometimes those things happen. I disagree. I actually, as a Colts fan, I disagreed with the call on Chris Jones. Like, I don't know what he could have said to get a flag thrown on him to Matt Ryan. I have
According
no
to
idea.
the NFL, according to the NFL official who had an interview after the game, it was something along the very explicit language line and borderline offensive abuse language used when talking to Matt Ryan. That is why the flag was thrown. That is from the NFL. I think it's the NFL officiating media correspondent. They didn't say what was along the lines. That's all they said, and they kept it at that. Nobody said anything about it. So my assumption is that if a flag is thrown, it's got to be something not very good.
I have no idea. He must have said something really bad, because I have no idea. You don't see that very. I mean, recently you haven't seen that very often, especially this season. I haven't seen players get flags thrown them for saying stuff as much this year. So, but yeah, I mean, the defense. I was super impressed, extremely impressed with our defense. If you hold the Chiefs to 17 points, that's a pretty good day. That's a pretty good day in the offense for a defense. The offense still struggling. I mean, it's not working well. I mean, Alec Pierce finally, was getting some separation on his routes, something, he hasn't done before. And he was catching some balls. We were looking for him. We were getting him more involved, which I liked. But Jonathan Taylor, I still don't really know what we're trying to do with Jonathan Taylor. It seems like we're trying to say, hey, we're not just a running team. We can also pass the ball. So let's not give our best player the ball as much. I kind of just don't agree with that. We're giving him less carries. I get that, it might help him for like the long term in his career to lower his carries a bit. But when you have a player that good and you just can't abandon the run that much, especially when there's times when the offense is struggling to get things together. Matt Ryan might make a bad throw, or, somebody just maybe it was a bad play call and the defense was ready for it. And now we have a thrown play, the offensive line. That's my problem. What has happened to the highest paid offensive line in the league? I mean, oh my gosh.
You start Matt Pryor at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, Matt Pryor. I mean, Matt Pryor and Danny Pinter, I mean, they are not good, man. They really are not good. Like sometimes you see them get broken and somebody gets past them, right? It happens every once in a while. But when I see them getting pile drived into the ground in 1 second by D linemen, it's kind of just like you kind of need to replace them. We need some replacements on the offensive line. I was really sad actually that we lost Glowinski. I thought that would be a massive loss when he left us, and it absolutely was because we didn't really have a replacement for him. So I'm not really looking forward to next week for the Colts. I think it's a toss-up. Both two teams that have been kind of struggling a little bit, especially offensively, even though the Titans had a good week last week. But hey, and I am also worried about this, just to say one last thing, is complacency. We did it last year where we were missing a lot of players and Carson went single-handedly beat the Cardinals. And then as Darius Leonard said in an interview with Pat McAfee, they said that they felt like they were unbeatable. They said that they felt like they were the best team in the league. And then they went and lost the last 2 games and missed out in the playoffs. So I hope that this doesn't happen again because we beat the Chiefs, one of the best teams in the league, and we held them to 17 points. I hope that Frank Reich can rub out that complacency and we can be ready to play the Titans next week.
That's fair. To pivot off your point a little bit, I do think the Chiefs did shoot themselves in the foot on 5 separate occasions in this game. Blocked punt, missed field goal, fake field goal, 15-yard penalty for abusive language, and just using Clyde Edwards-Helaire as a receiving back and not a running back just physically irks me. Like, if you're going to pay him that much money to do what he does, give him the ball. I mean, just give him the ball. You beat a Gus Bradley cover one single highs safety coverage, which means one safety's job is to cover 3 wide receivers. Sky Moore couldn't return kicks. It just felt like the perfect storm for the Colts almost. Like, the Colts didn't have to do much to beat the Chiefs. The Colts just had to do the bare minimum, I felt like. And it's good that the Colts did the bare minimum and won the game at the end of the day. Like, thank goodness the Colts win a game. It's great and it's dandy. If I'm a Chiefs fan, I might be hitting the panic button currently. I might be a little worried that, we didn't look as good as we looked. We lost to the Colts, who have not been good this season. Have not been good. Have not had they've been a very ebbs and flow team for the first 2 weeks. And, you take a loss to them in a very tight AFC West race, as we've currently seen. I don't know. I'm a little nervous for the Chiefs, but I think they'll be fine. The Chargers, that's my conversation. Is Trevor Lawrence the top 10 quarterback? No. Is he going to end up at 12 or 11? Yes, that is what I'm going with. I might need to put that in the future hot take section of, is Trevor Lawrence. I want this to be noted. Trevor Lawrence has got half of his rookie year touchdowns in the first 3 weeks of this NFL season. I don't know who needs to know that, but goodness gracious, Trevor Lawrence. They do face the Eagles on Sunday. That is the game I'm looking forward to this week. There's not a lot of games that I'm like, oh, wow, that game's great. That is the game. I want to see 2 really good teams play each other. And I'm interested to see who wins that game. And are there no undefeated teams after week 1? I'm going to say no. I think the Eagles win. But this Jacksonville teams look really good. Josh Allen, got to rep him because he's a Kentucky kid. Went to Kentucky. They've been playing out of their mind. I don't think they're a flash in the pan team like I would say the Dolphins are. I think they're truly built to last. And I think Trent Baalke maybe actually did something good this year. Trayvon Walker actually looks like he's panned out as just being a freak athlete that just is going to run after you every play. Their secondary is really good, even though on paper you may say, wow, that secondary looks tragic. They've looked very good. They've been a very good team. And the biggest part is that they have a good head coach in Doug Peterson, who's clearly rebuilt the culture, done all these things, tinkered around, got this offense humming. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles, it's like 14-14 going into halftime and the Eagles are playing by the seat of their pants against this team. Jacksonville beat the brakes off the Chargers. I know people are going to say, "Oh, Justin Herbert's hurt." Yeah, Justin Herbert shouldn't even play in that game. First off, there's a lot of conversation there, but just let him sit. Brandon Staley, he's just did more worse than he did good being out there. But a good Jaguars team. I'm interested to see what happens. I could be wrong. They could be a flash in the pan. They could lose the next 7 games. Who knows? I couldn't tell you half of the team's records after these past 3/4 weeks in the NFL because everybody looks like they can win a game. So I think the Jaguars looked the best last week. I would give them my team of the week stamp if I could. But I don't know. Dallas, who you got?
So if we were recapping the games last week, I want to talk about 2 games. That's Packers, Buccaneers, and Broncos, Niners. And I want to talk about, is the offense that bad or is the defense that good for those 4 teams?
Dumpster fires?
Because
you mean those
they cannot
dumpster fires of games I had
they
to throw
cannot
on there?
move the ball at all. I just don't understand.
I fell asleep during Packers Bucks. I'm kidding.
I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, Packers looked good the first 2 drives. They moved the ball methodically down the field. They got Aaron Jones going in the first 2 drives. A.J. Dillon, that was okay. Romeo Doubs looked pretty good first 2 drives. They scored touchdowns down there, stopped the Buccaneers. And then that 3rd drive, they get down there to the goal line. Aaron Jones fumbles at the 1. And after that moment, it felt like the Packers couldn't move an inch the rest of the game. They couldn't move the ball at all. I mean, and then Tom Brady offense, I know they didn't have Evans, Julio, or Godwin, but you still got Fournette back there. They still got Russell Gage. Cole Beasley signed off the practice squad, only played 4 snaps, I believe. Was it?
Yeah.
4 or 5 snaps?
Rashard Perriman and Scotty Miller better than Cole Beasley in the world of Byron Leftwich.
Yeah.
I think Tom Brady is kind of like that that panning to Ken Dorsey at the end of the Miami game, where he's just throwing his stuff, throwing his headset, banging the desk, and then whoever's that Bill's staff guy that's in the press box with him, or in the coach's box, great job covering up that camera. I hope you get a raise next week for that. Some great damage control at that moment to put your hand over the camera so it pans away. But yes, it was a very bad game.
I wish I got to see more of the camera. I wish he didn't cover. I wanted to see more. I wanted to see what was going on down there.
I think Ken Dorsey just needed a moment. I think they just need to go sit Ken Dorsey in a quiet room, and he just needed to be. Someone just needed to pet him on the head like a dog and be like, "It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay."
To go back on since we talked about the Packers Buccaneers, I wanted to go into Broncos 49ers just a little bit and say that, man, this Broncos offense, I just don't understand how it's like, how do you not make that offense work with those pieces? If you saw what Eli Manning said, that they should have paid $235 million to the punter. I mean, honestly, he's not wrong, because it is just not working whatsoever. Like, it seems like to me that Russell Wilson and the head coach have completely different ideas about how their offense should be run. And it seems like I think behind the scenes, it seems like they're fighting each other with what they want to do, and that everybody's just not in agreement. So what you get is a terrible offense that they don't know what they're doing. But they're still winning games, though. To be fair to the Broncos defense, they're still winning games. I don't know how many
Broncos are tied at the top of the division for the AFC West at 2-1 with the Kansas City Chiefs.
I don't know how, considering how they've looked offensively, but the defense is holding on and winning them some games. I kind of feel bad for the 49ers, though, losing Trey Lance that quickly. I've never been a big fan of Jimmy G. I never have, even though he got you all the way. I think you got to the Super Bowl despite him. And it kind of sucks that, they said, finally, wait, you're the backup QB, or we're going to bring our guy in and he's going to start. And then well, now it's kind of awkward in there. Now, now it's kind of awkward again, and it's not working. I mean, I didn't think the offense of Trey Lance was working well at all either, but I think it's really starting to go downhill for the 49ers. And I had big hopes for them, especially because the defense is so good. But if they just can't get anything on offense, I think they'll have the same fate as the Broncos, which will have the same fate as the Buccaneers, where they're just not going to go as far as you would hope.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to try and be a little bit nicer. I know I may have crucified Nathaniel Hackett in previous shows. It was a better game. I mean, you win at the end of the day. But yes, there is not the cohesiveness between the team feels, I don't know how to explain it. I mean, if you put, I don't even know how, I can't even find a simile or any kind of metaphor for this. It's a dumpster fire at this point. But they're winning games somehow. Don't explain to me how they're winning games. I don't understand. I don't think their own coaching staff understands. They're like, holy crap, we are making terrible decisions and we're somehow winning. I mean, any kid that plays Madden, I'm pretty sure could currently go in and maybe call some plays instead of Justin Otten. Just throwing that out there. It's bad. And at the end of the day, the 49ers outbatted. I know I'm going to use improper English, outbatted the Broncos by Jimmy Garoppolo stepping out of the end zone, getting a safety. Thank you, Jimmy G. You screwed up my hot take last week. You suck. You suck. You suck. Dude, all I needed you to do was not step out of the end zone. And I had it. I had it locked up. You screwed it up. That's on you. If you see this, it is on you for losing my hot take last week. Thank you. You knew in your head you didn't want me to be 3-1. You want me to be 2-2. It's on you, man. It's on you. But I'm not going to say that, Jimmy Garoppolo is like the worst quarterback you could have in this situation. I mean, you could have I don't know, Case Keenum playing or anybody else bad playing. He didn't get a playbook in the offseason. So, I mean, he's kind of learning by the seat of his pants at this point. So, I gave it to him. Bad game. They're 1-2. They'll get better. He's still taken to the playoffs. I mean, he's not a bad quarterback. It's not like this is his first time. It was just a bad game. Just a lot of bad things happened, and in a very simultaneous bad stretch. They just couldn't catch any breaks. But are we finished, gentlemen, on the last week, and we're going to go on to matchups this week? All right. So for this week's matchups, we do have some interesting ones. We do have the Colts playing the Titans, the Bills playing the Ravens, I mentioned, the Eagles playing the Jaguars, the Chiefs play the Buccaneers, and the Rams play the 49ers. Are any of these games are we looking for? My answer has been already noted that it's the Eagles, Jaguars. Anyone else have any games that you think are make or break week 4? This team could either completely crumble or they could be really good.
Yeah, I have this is a big division match, Colts Titans. Whoever loses this game is going to be in deep stuff. I'm telling you, this is a massive game because I think that this is the game where one of these teams falls out of winning the division completely. Whoever loses this one, because it's especially the Colts, since we've already lost the division game, and then we'll be 0-2-1 in 3 division games. The Titans still might have a chance if they lose this one, but it'll be really tough. It'll be a tough loss for the team, especially the Colts, because if you do that, then I think the dumpster fire will start burning. So that's my one to watch.
Yeah, I think mine obviously be Eagles Jaguars, but I'll say Chiefs Buccaneers is a little bit interesting. One of these teams will be 2-2, unless it's a tie, which is not something you'd expect out of these teams. You'd think these teams would be 3-1 or 4-0 somewhere in there, but let's see how Buccaneers offense looks this week. Chiefs defense hasn't been awful this year. I think Buccaneers should be able to move the ball. I think it's going to be a close game.
Well, none of you mentioned the game I'm talking about. I'm talking about currently on betting services, the two favorites for NFL MVP, Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, play each other. Holy crap. Are we talking about a game? Two dudes that can just play football, just flat out play football. Now their teams surrounding them, lots of questions. Bills currently have one of the most banged up secondaries. I believe they have lost Jordan Poyer for the year. I'm correct on that, right? Jordan Poyer.
I believe it's Micah Hyde.
I thought it was.
I believe it's Micah Hyde.
Let me look this up. I swore it was Poyer. Jordan Poyer injury. No, Jordan Poyer. Yes, it was Micah Hyde. I was incorrect. Jordan Poyer does return. We are still missing Tre'Davious White, and now Christian Benford has broken his hand and will be out for multiple weeks. It is now Khair Lamb. Khair Lamb is it. That's the end all be all for them. But I think it'll be an interesting game. I'm interested to see how Lamar deals with a really good team. I know, he played Miami. He struggled against Miami at moments. So I'm interested to see how this Bills defense kind of backtracks after last week. I feel like they're going to come out and they're just going to want to smash you in the face. In all reality, they're just going to want to come punch you in the mouth and not let anything. But if Lamar's Lamar and Lamar scores another 4 touchdowns and three in the air, one with his legs, I mean, I'll be honest. I think Lamar could win the MVP after week 4, and no one would be mad about it. Be like, yeah, he deserves it. It's going to be an interesting game. I think it might be make or break for the Bills here. You may have caught a break that Miami has an unfortunate injury with Tua, and he might be sidelined for an undisclosed amount of time. So this is maybe your chance to get back and get those reins back, because you do not play Miami until week 15 in Buffalo. So, winning these games in between now and week 15 are very crucial. Winning those divisional games, a crappy division currently. The Jets are terrible. The Patriots are playing Brian Hoyer this week. Can we just
Mac
have
Jones
a whole
was at
section?
practice today. Don't count out Mac Jones yet.
No, I wouldn't play Mac Jones. They haven't looked good. Can we just name all those backup quarterbacks who have currently played in the last 3 weeks? Jimmy Garoppolo. What's his name at? The Chargers had to come in for a little bit. Oh man, guys, come on.
I don't remember.
Good God, what's his name?
He only came in for a play.
Okay, well, Jimmy Garoppolo, Teddy Bridgewater, and now Brian Hoyer is projected to play. Joe Flacco starts the season. It's the wonderful carousel of backup quarterbacks. We're only 4 weeks in. That means we're losing a quarterback a week here.
Andy Dalton is starting this week for New Orleans as well.
Andy Dalton starting for New Orleans. Wow. Forgot about Cooper Rush and Dallas. We've got 6 quarterbacks already. Yeah. We got 6 quarterbacks. It's a good old time with these backup quarterbacks. They're just having a good time. So I think that's going to be an interesting matchup. Are we all set on the games? I don't know if anybody wanted to cover what's the game we missed. Anybody want to cover the Rams 49ers? I don't know why I put this game on here. I think it's just because the 49ers beat the Rams last year. I think I was like, look at this game, man. Look at this. Look at this. 2 bad quarterbacks playing each other. Look at this. Look at this. Got Pasta Noodle Arm versus Jimmy G. Or as people on Twitter have now been cropping his name out on the back of his jersey, to Jimmy Garbage. Nicknames, not a good nickname to have. All right, so we're going to go on to a new section that I've brought up. I may have stolen this idea from another podcast. Nobody at me. This is not trademarked in their ideas. This is not intellectual property, I promise. It is winners and losers through the first week, technically through week 4, since we've gone through 1 game. So you're going to pick your winner and then your loser. It can be a coach, player, team, blah, 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 organization, fan base. If you want to go to which fan base are a bunch of losers, mean, feel free to go at it. I don't know if anybody's going to come at you in the comments. You never know who's a fan of what team in here. So nobody go dissing. Is there any 0-3 teams?
And there is one, and that will be my loser of the teams right now. And that's the Las Vegas Raiders.
Oh yeah, the Las Vegas Raiders. I forgot about
They're the
those.
losers the first 3 weeks.
So whoever's ready to go, you can go winner, or we can all do our winners, and we can all do our losers, or we can go winner or loser. What way you guys want to do it?
Whatever. I mean, since I just said it, Raiders are a loser for me. 0-3. We start out with our losers. I'll go them. A very disappointing start of the season. They have enough talent to compete. The offense really hasn't been as dominant as it should be. Devontae Adams, very great week 1 game, 17 targets, got the ball a lot. And he's been really quiet last 2 weeks. Teams have been shadowing him. And Darren Waller really hasn't played that well this year. Hunter Renfrow was out last week, and Matt Collins is your guy getting 150 yards.
Matt Collins is a beast. I picked him up, and I didn't pick him up, and I may have picked him up in fantasy. I think I might have lost in one league, and I might have got him in the other league. So he's a beast, though. He's a low-key beast. If anybody's out there looking for a low-key beast on their team, so I think we got to start out with losers then. So we're gonna go to losers. Adam, you want to go with your loser? I don't know who you got. Is it the Raiders too?
I'm actually struggling with this one. I'm struggling to find a loser and a winner for the whole beginning of the NFL, because I've seen it's been a lot of mixed stories. It's been some winners 1 week, some losers 1 week. But if I had to go with one of the biggest losers recently, it's the Dolphins organization. They are screwed, and they screwed up, and their season is ruined. Pretty much. I think if they had it started so well, it was looking so high, and then it all came crumbling down for the Dolphins. It's all crumbled down.
It's pretty fair. Is it bad that I want to say a fan base, and it's not funny, but it's kind of funny? Oh, my first joke was going to be that the biggest loser is now Ken Dorsey's headset, because that thing's destroyed into oblivion. But I thought that was funny. Thank God you guys thought it was funny too. Man, my biggest loser. I felt very strong about this one. It has to be the Washington Commanders and Carson Wentz. Wow, man, we really were going to give you a good team, and then you're going to get sacked 6 times by the Eagles defense. And we're only going to put up 8 points. And at one point, you're going to have -2 yards in this game. It's got to be him. Whoever thought that Carson Wentz was going to have a wonderful, beautiful home after the Philadelphia Eagles and the success one year. No, this man continues to just get dumpstered on in the most unfortunate of ways. We thought, oh, wow, he's going to Washington. This team's going to build around him. He has 3 really good receivers. And at one point, they were down 254 total yards in offense. They had -2 to an Eagles defense, which has been great. But yes, the loser has to be the Commanders. Somehow they have gotten substantially worse, and they're playing a better quarterback that you traded for. It's just a dumpster fire that's swirled a little bit out, and I wouldn't be surprised to say that they could be the #1 draft pick next year. It wouldn't be surprising. I don't think the Raiders are going to do it. I think the Raiders only have room to go upwards, while I only see the Commanders going downwards. So, I mean, hopefully they get if Brian Robinson gets back, I'd be interested to say, oh, wow, this could be a really good team. But their defense is currently ranked 31st in points allowed and 32nd in total yards allowed through the first 3 weeks. And not to mention that Carson Wentz is currently tied for the most picks thrown in the NFL. So Yeah, it's got to be Carson Wentz slash the Commanders fan base, because do they even have a fan base anymore? Have people decided that they're just going to stop being Commanders fans so that they can let their hopes and dreams actually live out to reality. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Commanders. Now we're gonna pivot on to winners. Who's got a winner here?
I guess I'll start us out, and I'll go winner. Doug Peterson and the Jacksonville Jaguars are a winner right now. They've been very surprising so far this year. Trevor has looked like he stepped up second year to what we all thought he would be out of college, a generational guy. He's very good. I think he can only get better and better from here. He's limiting the turnovers, which is huge for them. And I gotta point out this defense, and it's looking more like the playoff run defense that they had back. I forget what year it was, with Blake Bortles at QB. But
I want to say
got a guy.
2017. I want to say
Yeah.
2017.
Yeah.
I
They
think
got a guy in there that's playing linebacker that replaced Miles Jack. That's got the third highest PFF grade for rookies, and that is Devin Lloyd. He's been playing unbelievable this year as a rookie. Defensive rookie of the year, maybe. He's been playing really good. The secondary, not many big names, but they're all solid guys. They all play well.
Tyson Campbell,
pass rush is
baby.
there.
Tyson Campbell, let's go.
Tyson
Let's get the
Campbell.
hype train.
Gil Griffin, I mean, these guys play well. Josh Allen, Chase Son off the edge. They're getting after the quarterback too. Definitely a winner so far in the first 3 weeks.
Was it last week where I tried to say the old man yells at cloud meme, at the fact that they don't wear like traditional numbers? Like they got linebackers wearing like 39, and people are like on Twitter tweeting, who let them be number 39? Who let the defensive backs be number 42? God, just quit. They're good. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what number they're wearing. They are good. Just quit hating on it. They blanked the Colts. Get off Twitter. Stop. All right. You've been on enough Twitter today. We're cutting you off. If I was a Twitter admin, I'd be like, you're done. You're done. Who do you got for a winner, Adam?
Well,
The Indianapolis
Dallas.
Colts?
No. But Dallas was, he's close to mine, but mine is Trevor Lawrence. My winner is Trevor Lawrence, finally getting a real head coach in Doug Peterson. And not only that, the Jacksonville Jaguars said, okay, let's open our checkbook. Who do you want to throw to? Christian Kirk, we got you. We're going to pay as much money as he wants. Zay Jones, we got you. Evan Ingram, we got you. How you want defensive players? We got you. Let's just start signing people. They backed the head coach. They backed their head coach, Doug Peterson. They were like, hey, who do you want? Who do you want? We'll sign him. We'll pay them as much money as we want. We'll sign him. And Trevor Lawrence is like, yeah, okay, let's go,
dude. Let's go.
Finally, let's do this. And with a head coach who actually knows what he's doing and has a lot of experience, especially at the high level when Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl. I think it's only helped him, and I think the Jacksonville Jaguars saved. I think they saved what could have been a wasted career this offseason. And I was always thinking, whenever you sign this many players, it's going to take a long time for them to gel. Especially since you're paying so much money to them, like you're putting a lot of pressure, I think. But no, these players, they've bought into what Doug Peterson is telling them to do. They're working well together. Trevor Lawrence is looking better than he's ever looked before in the NFL. Everything is going really, really well for the Jacksonville Jaguars right now, and everything's working. And I think Trevor Lawrence is one of the happiest players in the NFL right now.
That's fair. Oh man, who's? I feel like, as Rishi told me last week, I take a lot of layups, and layups are good, but layups can be bad. I feel like the easy layup is to say the only 3-0 team in the NFL right now. But I'm going to pivot. I think we're going to stick on the lines. We're going to say that we're all going to say that the number 1 and the number 2 teams in the NFL draft last year are winners through the first 4 weeks. I'm going with the Detroit Lions. When you have a fan base that can actually cheer for something. I know people say, oh, they lost. They've lost in really good games, though. Like, they're not losing like in bad games. They're winning games. Now, with Amon-Ra St. Brown being out this week, as a fantasy owner, my heart hurts a little bit, but they have clearly made that step from really bad to like pretty decent. Like if you told me today, Alex, you're a GM, you get your choice of last year, you get your choice of teams that you have to manage. I wouldn't have picked the Detroit Lions, but if you told me tomorrow you get to pick a team, I'm taking the Detroit Lions. They have just unloaded their draft capital. They've got really good players in the building. They've got a really good team that's just, once they're not as banged up and the injury department, they're going to be really good. I just want them to get over that hump. They just got better. I mean, they've been better. Their team looks happier. They look like a good team. There's no more Jared Goff memes on Twitter. I don't think that man has to go home and like fight for his life on Twitter anymore. He's playing good. They're playing good. They're my biggest winners. I think it was fair to put them on Hard Knocks last season. Does anybody have any honorable mentions for either winner or loser?
Well, I think I'll mention definitely the Eagles going 3-0, just for the layup there. I think that's an honorable mention.
I told you guys, I was on the Eagles from the preseason. I'm riding that thing into the grave. Like if they could lose the next 11 games, and I would still somehow be like, yes, the Eagles. Yes, the Eagles. I also think an honorable mention is Cooper Rush and the Dallas Cowboys. Congratulations, man. Congratulations. You've won 2 games. I mean, that he deserves a round of applause. The Bears, I don't want to give them congratulations yet because I don't think they've really played a lot of good games, but I mean, kudos on being 2-1. Kudos on having the same record as the Vikings, the Packers, and you. NFC North looks tough. I don't have any. My Ken Dorsey headset, I guess, is going to be our honorable mention for loser. That poor thing got destroyed into oblivion. Also, the Microsoft Surface tablets, RIP. I mean, those things are going right and left. I mean, I would be worried about those things. If I was one of those, I'd be worried if Tom Brady's on a sideline with me. So, all righty. So we're going to skip on to the college football section. There wasn't a lot to talk about in the last week, but there are some very, very close games. In my hot take last week, I may have mentioned that Kansas State was going to get a dub, and they did get that dub. They won 41-34 against Oklahoma, knocking Oklahoma at who was number 6, I believe. Number 6, now out of the top 10 in the AP. A very close game in which Ole Miss won 35-27 against Tulsa, and they now face my Kentucky Wildcats, who are going to romp them. Vegas, you are criminal for putting them at putting Ole Miss at 7-point favorites. Criminal. And then we had a great game in which Michigan squeaked out a win 34-27 against Maryland. Guys, have any notes about college football? Those Hoosiers, they're not really rolling at them.
Yeah.
You want to retract any statements that we may have made about IU yet?
No, I'm sticking with it, no matter how delusional it gets.
We'll check in with you after you play Michigan next week. We'll check. Maybe we'll have a pain scale for IU. Maybe we'll be like, what's IU? Like when you go to the doctor and they're like, how bad does that hurt? Or like you hurt yourself and it's like, how bad does it hurt? 1 to 10? Like, how bad does it hurt to be an IU fan? 1 to 10? I think 90% of them are going to say like an 8 or a 9, somewhere in that ballpark. Just going to be like, wow, that's tragic.
I'm feeling like an 8.
Feeling like an 8? That's not good. All right, so we're going to skip on. As we said, the NBA season is closing in, gentlemen. We are getting so much closer to seeing the NBA back. So we got a few storylines we're going to go through. I'm just going to, say them. We're going to tell our opinions on it. So the first one is are the Nets going to finally figure it out?
No.
No.
No,
Yeah.
no, they're not
Give
gonna
my
figure it out.
answer.
They're not gonna figure it out. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Like I hate how the team is put together. I just don't. I mean, Ben Simmons is a great player, but is he? You know, is he actually going to win you anything?
Is
I
Ben
don't-
Simmons going to play a basketball game this year?
Is he going to play? I don't even
yeah,
know.
we'll see.
There's so much drama. There's just so much drama. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of seeing the drama coming out of the Nets organization, especially with the KD trade. Then they couldn't get it done.
Yeah.
Now we're just here, and it's awkward. There's going to be more drama, more stuff's going to happen. They're just going to be a mess, just a mess.
I mean, it feels fair that like it's just been a mess from the jump. I mean, Kyrie wouldn't play. KD was barely playing. You like picked up like DeAndre Jordan and Blake Griffin and thought all our problems were going to be solved. I'm going to agree with Adam. I think they're going to be good, but I think they're going to be disappointing in the end. Like they're just going to lose again. And we're all going to be like, oh, well, there's the Nets again. Oh, hey, look at that. They spend all this money and they still suck. So no, I do not imagine them they're going to be a playoff team. Are they going to be like last season where they lost a ton of games? Possibly, but they also could be really good. And we all could be biting our tongues after after the first 15 or 20 games.
Yeah, I think they'll be a top. I don't think they'll be down the eight spot again or 7 spot, whatever they were last year. I think they'll be up closer to the top. Kyrie playing a full season. As much as I hate the guy, I mean he's a good player. He's gonna carry them to some wins. Obviously, just him and Durant will carry them to most of their wins. But Joe Harris being back is a key portion of their team. He's a shooter, very good. We'll see how Ben Simmons mixes in. We'll see how they use him as a ball handler, a defensive guy, and whatnot. I think he gets a little bit over hate, but we'll see. They'll make the playoffs, maybe get a first round win, but I don't see them going any farther than the second round.
Is this the new season where the NBA playoff, what the midseason tournament or whatever is going to happen? Is that what I remember hearing? Like, there's going to be a midseason tournament, or we're going to have to play it. There's going to be playing games or something.
They
I
haven't
hate
really,
the plans.
the midseason tournament's not really going to be anything. I think that's going to impact the playoffs in the play-in. They're going to keep the play-in. I can't stand the play-in. It shouldn't be rewarded for being a 10th seed and being out of the playoffs. You should not be rewarded with even a chance of making the playoffs.
I mean, the Pacers played in the first one, and I hated it. I hated every second of it because I just wanted the season to end.
Yep.
Like that season when we got in the first play-in game, I didn't want to see either game. I hated it. It's awful.
Okay. All right, so we're on to the next one. This kind of follows along the lines. Are LeBron and the Lakers going to finally click and be good? Guys, we can't answer no for everyone, guys. We can't say they're all going to be bad. We got to pick one person and be like, yes, LeBron, you're 39 and you're going to win everything, man. We're just waiting for your kid to come in the league so you can play that last year and then finally be gone.
I mean, I'll be the no then. I'll be the one no. One of you can take the yes, I guess.
Alex, you can take the yes because for me it's a no.
God, guys, you can't leave me on this island.
They don't have enough talent.
Yeah, they just
They
don't.
just
Russell Westbrook
Anthony
is
Davis
not going to
won't-
win them a
Anthony Davis won't
championship.
play
What
every
are we
game.
talking about?
I'm so happy we
What?
didn't trade for him. I'm so happy we didn't trade. I really would have hated having Westbrook on this team.
I'm going to go with a no as well. I don't want to be that one guy that's like, yes, I'm delusional, but I think this one might be a little bit better of a question. We might actually agree to disagree. Are Curry and Clay going back-to-back championships this year with Golden State?
Ooh. This is tough. The Warriors are going to be in it again. I mean, see a Western Conference Finals berth. Going back to back is always tough. I mean, the dynasty, them and Cleveland going back and forth all the time, they're always there. I think there's a lot more competitive teams than there were in that era back a few years ago. I think there's more chances to lose. I think they had a pretty easy road then. And then it's going to come down in the postseason to injuries and if everybody's healthy. I hate to be that guy, but that's what it is. I can definitely see it. I'm not going to put a yes or a no on it right now. Like that's the start of the season, but I can definitely see it happening for sure.
I wrote it down as a could possibly, and I'm gonna pencil in Dallas.
I mean, I can see it happening again. It's definitely possible. They still have a good team. You know, Curry and Clay, I think, are one of the best maybe the best backcourt of all time. That might be another discussion for another day. But they're pretty I can't think of two players that complement each other perfectly like that. But so obviously, I have to agree with Dallas. Well, yeah, Jordan and Pippen. But hey, if Curry and Clay keep winning championships, then they're not going to be far away, I don't think. But I actually don't think they're that far away, especially if they win another one. I think it might actually become a pretty close discussion, but I don't think you'll ever figure it out because of the difference in time zones and how they play. I don't think you'll ever figure that out, but I think it's definitely possible. They are my favorites to win it again. I think I know it's weird I don't like people saying, oh, they won it last year, so they're going to win it again this year. But they are my favorites. So I think it's definitely possible. I agree with Dallas. It's just about the injuries. Are they going to be healthy? Are Curry and Clay going to be healthy? I think that's just is the core going to be healthy? That's the most important thing.
Well, I was called an idiot at one time in the SMC show group, in the SMC around the board group chat, because I told them that they should trade Clay and rock with Jordan Poole, and everybody said no. But I look at it from a GM perspective. Let's trade him while he has the most value, and let's just hope that we're better. But I'm going to give it a firm no, just because I think the West has actually gotten better, and I hope these teams can be better. Phoenix has been disappointing. I want to say the Dallas Mavericks are going to be good, but I also, some part of me says no, because they lost Jalen Brunson. But then I also look, they're not there yet, but they could be there. But I look at a team that I don't think a lot of people are going to value this year, and it's going to be the Clippers. I think the Clippers have finally figured it out. They finally have Kawhi healthy. They finally have Paul George healthy at the exact same time. There's no problems. There's no problems going into the season. I just hope they can put it together, because if they could put it together, and because we all remember last season, Kawhi would have really good games. Paul George wouldn't be playing. Paul George would be playing and Kawhi wouldn't be playing. Paul George would have good games. If they can just push it all together and string it out over it's 72 games, right? I'm right there. 72, 76, somewhere in that ballpark. I'm just saying they need it might be more. I need to watch NBA more. Let's just be
82 game season, I think. They were talking about shorting it.
Yeah. It's 82 games, I think.
Okay, so realistically, you just need to win 56 games. In all reality. So if they can just string it for 56 games and then come in as a 3 or a 4 seed, I think they'd be good. So I'm going to go no. And now we have the next point, which is, does Donovan Mitchell help the Cavs make a playoff push finally, since LeBron has departed? A for real playoff push. I know they've made playoff pushes in the past, but for real, they're going to be a contender.
Oh, no.
No?
I really don't think so. Donovan Mitchell, he's a great player. He's one of my favorite players in the NBA. I love watching Donovan Mitchell play, but there's just something. It's really just a superstition thing and a history thing for me. There's just something about Cleveland without LeBron James. Like things just never go right for Cleveland until LeBron James is there. They never have in the past, and they haven't since he left. I just don't see it. I just don't see them being a contender. Like, if you mean contender for a title,
I just mean
or
contender
just
as in
playoff.
like they are going to be a good team in the East. I'm not saying they're going to win a title. I'm just saying good team in the East.
Good team in the East. I wouldn't bet any money on it. I'd be very against it. Title contender, absolutely not. A good team, maybe. I don't know. I don't think so. I just don't like how the roster's put together. I like Donovan Mitchell, but I've just never been a big fan of this Cavs team, the players that they've drafted. I just thought I've always been a little underwhelming. They've had some good players that they drafted, but I don't know. I just don't see it working out for the Cavs as a great team. I think they might make the playoffs. I think they might get number 6. Like on the last few games of the season, they might grab 6, but I don't see anything more than the second round at the very best.
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback there. Starting lineup looks good. I mean, you got Garland, you got Donovan Mitchell, you got Mobley, you got Jared Allen. You can throw a Coro or Osman in there at the 3. It's the bench that's going to worry me when those guys come in there. They're going to have to probably keep a starter out there for the bench minutes. They really don't have that much. I mean, their backup point guard is Raul Neto this year. I mean,
What about Ricky Rubio?
Ricky Rubio is not on their team anymore.
What?
Yep.
This was that was 38 days ago. Oh, well, there might have been a lot of things that happened between the last 38 days.
Kevin Love is getting up there in age. Well, I don't know how well he can perform. The bench is worrying, man. I think, like Adam said, I think 6 seed. I think they can slide in right there. Maybe they make a run in the regular season, but once that postseason hits, the inexperience of postseason basketball is going to hit them.
Okay, well, I don't know a lot about basketball, so I might just like piggyback on this and say, yeah, they're not built to go that deep. Clearly, I shouldn't be reading articles from 38 days ago. That just might be me. But now to another Eastern Conference team. Have the Pistons finally put it together? I'm going yes. I'm just going with yes. They just traded for Bogdan Bogdanović, which is a very good piece. Cade Cunningham's looking good. Their team looks like it's improving. I think they could take it's 8 seeds in the NBA, right? 8, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be surprised if they got the 8th seed. Just wouldn't be surprised. I think they could just slide in there with like a not too hot Pacers team coming out of the early season. I mean, unless they catch fire somehow, which I wouldn't be surprised if they did. I could see the Pistons in there. I could just, in my mind, I could just see Detroit actually having a good sports year. And maybe that Detroit curse is lifted a little bit by making the playoffs.
I mean, they're getting better. They're on the right path to get better. It's just they're a little too young. I think they can make a play in as 9 or 10. I don't see them locking the spot down. I think the play in is what they'll be. And then postseason hits, when the play in, I don't see them getting a win. But I really like the move to bring in Bogdanović. I mean, that's a really good move. Drafting Jaden Ivey is a really good move. Starting lineup should be Cunningham, Ivey, Sadiq Bey, Bogdanović, and Isaiah Stewart. Very good lineup. And the bench got better. I think Killian Hayes coming into his 3rd year. They signed Alec Burks. Hamidou Diallo, Kentucky boy, is coming into his own in the league. He's actually playing better. I like to see Kevin Knox get some minutes on this team. He hasn't really gotten a fair chance this year or
Devin
in years
Knox,
past.
good God.
He hasn't gotten a chance in the league, really. I mean, the Knicks played him a little bit. He can get some minutes. Isaiah Livers from Michigan will get some minutes. And they got Nerlens Noel and Marvin Bagley in there, the other bigs. I mean, they got some okay guys to play. I think it'll take a few years and a few more pieces, but they're on the right track.
So you think they're close?
Yeah, I get 2 years and they can be a six seed, but the other teams in the East are just far superior right now.
I think the Pistons are one of the weirdest built rosters in the league because I think they have some of the most depth with not many good players, which is a very weird situation to be in. You have a lot of young players who could be something. You also have a lot of veterans who were something. And you put that together, and I think it could be a good mix to help them grow, like Dallas said, in the future. Like, I think it give them 1 or 2 years and they'll be a much better team. But right now, it's just a weird roster. I love the pickup of Jaden Ivey. I really wanted him to come back to the Pacers. I really wanted us to get him, and we're one spot away. But they have a lot they have Kemba Walker, Nerlens Noel. They picked up Bogdanovich, Alec Burks. All of those are players that could still are definitely, some of them starters that are probably on the bench for the younger players. So they have a lot of experience and a lot of inexperience. And I think you're going to see a mixed bag, probably 9th or 10th. They might get into a play-in spot. But I just, it's just a weirdly built roster. They're not ready yet.
Okay. That's fair. As I said, I don't watch a lot of NBA, so I'm just going with just the eye test. I'm just going with the eye test. Like, do I think this team could be good? Yes. And you guys' points are pretty good. I mean, I'm not thinking I'm too crazy for saying they could make a playoff game. I'm not too crazy. But we're going to go into a little section. It's just going to be NBA season assumptions. We're going to go over our favorite team, who's your sleeper team, and who's going to make the big leap. That can be player, coach, GM, front office, organization, whatever team we think is just, or whatever player, team, coach you think is just going to make a very big leap into the season. Whoever would like to open up, we're going to open up with our favorite team. So fire away, whoever's ready.
All right. I got this down. My favorite team in the NBA, and I just love how this team goes, the Memphis Grizzlies. They are my favorite team. I love Ja Morant. I like how they play basketball, and they're going to be a good team this year. Could they make the finals? I don't know, but I think they'll be facing the Warriors right for that final, and I think they'll be right up there with them at the end. I think the Warriors would just beat them, but they are my favorite team. I think Ja Morant's going to take a big step. Another big step this season into being one of the top 5 players in the league, if you already don't have him there already. They did lose Kyle Anderson, the slowest player in NBA history, but and they kept Tyus Jones, who I think is a good backup point guard off the bench. And I think you got to keep an eye on the Memphis Grizzlies to make a run and really go all the way up to the end.
I'll say this about the Grizzlies real quick. I like them as well. They aren't my pick, but I'll say losing Kyle Anderson and DeAnthony Melton are a couple big losses. They really didn't address it that much in the offseason. If you look at their depth chart here, starting lineup, love the starting lineup. Ja Morant, Desmond Bane, Dylan Brooks, Brandon Clark, Steven Adams. Love that lineup. Off the bench right now, I mean, as their 5 guys off the bench, they have Tyus Jones at the backup, John Conchar at the 2, Zaire Williams at the 3, their first-round pick, Jake LaRavia, which I think can fit in for Kyle Anderson just fine at the 4, Xavier Tillman at the 5. I like to see how that bench steps up during the year and gets more experience playing together. I think Zaire Williams can be a solid scorer option off the bench for him. So I'll go ahead and go into my team, and I know there's been a lot of controversy with them around the offseason with Ime Udoka and everything, but Boston Celtics. I love the Boston Celtics. They are my favorite team in the league. We'll see how they do under the new coach. I think if they can push that all aside and really focus in, and they have one of the deepest teams in the East. I really love, obviously, Smart, Brown, Tatum. See how Horford plays this year. Robert Williams out 8 to 12 weeks, so our big could be an issue at the start of the year if we start off a little slow like we did last year. But, the Celtics.
Solid. I'm still looking, guys. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't do a lot of research for the NBA section. So nobody at me at that. That's just me not paying attention to basketball all too often. I'm gonna go with the Minnesota Timberwolves. I feel like they're a sneaky team. Like I just think it's gonna be a very sneaky team. Looking at their depth chart, they do have D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, Karl Anthony Towns, and Rudy Gobert starting. Now, I know a lot of people don't like how they start, but their bench looks pretty solid. You have Austin Rivers, Kyle Anderson, Naz Reid, Torian Prince, PJ Dozier, Luka Garza, even and some Nathan Knight. Not a bad team. Like, not a bad team on paper. Now, they're going to get over that hump of, like, we just suck. I'm still a little mixed bag on that, but I think they're an interesting team, and I think they kind of feel very mad scientist-y. And I wouldn't be surprised if they make the playoffs, because I kind of feel like the West may have got a little depleted in the talent section. I feel like a few teams gave up some big pieces. I feel like the Jazz, maybe took a step back. The Lakers have just kept taking steps back. The Mavericks took a couple of steps back, and I didn't see any teams other than, like, I don't know, the Clippers and the Spurs, who maybe like really like loaded up a little bit and got some talent. So I'm gonna go with the Timberwolves. And now we're on to the next section, which is who is your sleeper team? Like who's a sneaky team that could jump out and win some games, win some close games, beat some big teams.
If I was going to put one of my sleeper teams this year, it's got to be the Atlanta Hawks. I think the Atlanta Hawks are one of the sleeper teams of the season. I know that they're not ranked very well. I know that last season was a struggle. I liked what they added. They traded for DeJounte Murray, who's also one of my favorite players in the NBA. And, when you have Murray and Trae Young as a backcourt, it's a pretty good backcourt. You also get Justin Holiday, known from Indiana. He's a very, you get the Holiday brothers in separate deals. I know Aaron and I know Justin. Aaron can be good if given the right situation. Justin's just a solid player to have on your bench. He's just always a solid player to have. And Frank Kaminsky is also a solid player to also have, maybe starting on the bench. I'm not sure, but yeah, I really like what I think they can. I think they could also not work out, which is why I think a lot of people are having them low on there. But I think the Atlanta Hawks are going to. I'm going to make an early prediction. I think they're going to be fifth in the East. I think they're going to get the number 5 spot. I really think this team is good. I have a feeling about it. Trae Young, he's a great player, and he's one of the guys I got wrong. He is one of my biggest mistakes in the draft. I didn't think this guy would be anything in the NBA. I thought he would be a bust, and I was very confident on that. I have been absolutely one of my worst predictions in the NBA that I've ever made. So, yeah, I have a lot of respect for him. So, Knicks fans might not, but yeah, Hawks for me.
Dallas, would you like to go? I'm still looking, so I need time.
I'll go. You said the West is a little depleted. My sleeper team is actually in the West, and a little Zion Williamson being healthy, New Orleans Pelicans team is my sleeper. I really like what
they a sleeper anymore. They like literally ran the playoffs last year at one point. I feel like they're a sneaky team, but I don't feel like they're like a complete like I get it. Like I understand that people think they're bad and Zion Williamson is fat, but he looks jacked right now currently. They're a good team. Don't get me wrong, but I think maybe I feel like they've maybe moved the threshold a little bit.
I don't know. Well, I'll stick with them as a sleeper for now, and then I'll let you go. And then if you want me to come back with another team, I will. But
no, it's fair. I'm going to give it to you. I'm just saying. I felt like last year, they made a name for themselves a little bit more than other teams did.
I love what they have with the starting lineup here, especially with Zion back, drafting Dyson Daniels, which I think is going to be very good out of the G League. I don't like players going to the G League to get drafted, but I'll save that for another time. I think he'll be really good in the guard spot. Trey Murphy off the bench will be a scoring piece for him. They got Larry Nance. Jackson Hayes will play some.
Grand Theft Alvarado.
Yep. I was going to say, great defensive guy right there. And then Devontae Graham is just a solid piece. He has been for years. So I think they can make some noise and move into the top 5 in the West and actually go into the second round of the playoffs.
Feels pretty fair. It feels pretty fair. I'm going completely off the board here, guys. I might be called stupid for this. But what about them Orlando Magic? They are building like a low-key. This team's pretty solid. You got Markelle Fultz, who I know, has struggled. Jalen Suggs, he's been okay. But I like the pairing of Wendell Carter Jr. and then, Paolo Banchero. But you also got Jonathan Isaac, who's made really good steps. Cole Anthony, Gary Harris, a kid who went to school up here. Mo Bamba, the Wagner brothers, Terrence Ross, a good old Kentucky boy, some RJ Hampton. I think they just seem like a sneaky team. They just feel like a team that might just come out and get some people. I know, Adam, you're over there thinking you're thinking I'm probably insane. I know everybody.
They might get 12. They might get 12. They might be a good season.
I'm just saying. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the Orlando Magic are a little bit better. I'm just saying they might win some big games. We might be like, holy crap, the Orlando Magic look pretty decent. I mean, I'm just saying, Bull, they still got him. Let's look at their NBA regular season. They open up. Oh God, that's rough. Oh, never mind.
I was gonna say you would have retracted. Now they were 22-60 last year, last place in the East.
No, I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to fight this one out. They're a sneaky team. Lock it in. Rishi's been telling me I'm taking too many layups. I'm going Orlando Magic. Sleeper team.
Well, that's certainly not a layup, so.
All right, now we're on to who will make the biggest leap. As we said, player, coach, team, organization, whoever you all have, fire away. Like I said, I'm going to need some time.
So biggest leap. I can come back with the Pelicans here, but I think the Clippers having Kawhi back can make a really big leap in the Western Conference. Looking at the standings last year, I can't really see too many things changing that drastically big leaps with these teams. I like what Adam says, a sleeper of the Hawks. They can make a leap and jump into the top 5 in the East. I don't really have a set in stone team here because I don't see a team making a huge leap from last year. The Clippers were 42-40. I could see the Clippers easily getting 50 wins this year, bump that up by 8. The Pelicans were 36-46 last year, made the 8 seed of the playoffs with the play-in. I think they up that a lot as well and get close to that 45 win mark this year.
Yeah, I'd have to back up off my sleeper team and say the Hawks, because not only do I think they're a sleeper team, I think they're the team that is most built to make a very big step forward into that top 5. So I'm gonna have to back my I don't really I have to agree. I don't really see another team that's gonna like take a like that big of a step forward. I think the Hawks have the best chance at doing that. And yeah, maybe the Clippers. I don't believe in the Clippers though. Like, I got to see Paul George for a long time, and Kawhi Leonard. I think Kawhi Leonard's kind of an a-hole. Not gonna lie, I just don't think he gets along with many people, and I just don't see that team gelling again because I haven't seen it gel yet, and they've been there for quite some time. So even though yes, the injuries have been there, it's just I'm gonna have to go with the Atlanta Hawks.
Okay, I have made a slight revision in theory. I'm going to switch out who I picked for the sleeper team. I'm going to put the Jazz in there. Looking at this Jazz depth chart, and I know a lot of people are very, very, how would I say, up in arms about it. You know, Mike Conley, Colin Sexton, Malik Beasley, Lauri Markkanen, Kelly Olynyk don't really jump off the page, but I look at that bench, and that bench is very interesting. You have Jordan Clarkson, Talen Horton-Tucker, Jared Vanderbilt, Walker Kessler, who's been great in college, Ochai Agbaji, Malik Beasley, Nickel Walker-Alexander. I mean, I just feel like they could be a sneaky team. And then I'm going to put the Orlando Magic into make the biggest leap. I think they make the leap from maybe like 12 to 10, not like 12 to 10 maybe. Yeah, so that's how we're going to round out the NBA section. We're going to recap our hot takes from last week now so that I can't get flamed anymore for my trashy NBA picks. We're just going to leave that as it is, and hopefully this doesn't get brought up next week or like in a few weeks. Last week's hot takes were the 49ers get a W as well as Kansas State gets a W. Unfortunately, Kansas State only got a W. I did put the 49ers will win the NFC West. They're currently now 1-2. Confidence is feeling very low in that. Dallas had Washington State beats Oregon, while Washington State got very close, came up short. And Rishi betted on the GOATs last week and Federer and Nadal to win in their doubles match, and they've lost again. They lost. So, you know, we had a pretty rubbish week, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I'm chalking that week up. I'm thinking this week's our week. What do we got? Someone feeling like they got some hot takes that they need to get off their chest here?
Well, I got a spicy one. I got a spicy hot take this week.
Ooh.
Colts versus Titans game will be the lowest scoring game in the NFL this week. I have the lowest amount of total points. It is going to be the most frustrating and boring game to watch ever. I mean, obviously I could be wrong. Maybe we are in the middle somewhere, but I just see this game being like 6-9 or like 7-10. Like it's
yes.
I don't see it going anywhere.
Great NFL football right there.
Man, okay. I'll slide into mine. Man, none of the games popped out at me when I was looking at this earlier and trying to find a hot take. I went to the NFL. I don't really like any of the games to have a hot take for them. I was thinking about taking the Texans over the Chargers, but I was like, that's just stupid. That's not going to happen. So I'm moving over to the college football slate, and I'm going to take a Indiana team, and that is Purdue on the road. They are 2-2 to beat number 21 Minnesota, who is 4-0.
Oh.
I like the takes. They haven't been spicy. So Adams was pretty hot. I'm not gonna lie. Dallas, You're just feeling a little lukewarm. I could see that game. Goodness gracious, guys! I've been typing too much, and I haven't been looking at games. Goodness, the college football slate's kind of rough. I'm not gonna lie. But man, there's one game I really want to take, and I've been really good about upsets in college football recently. So I'm going to go with Northwestern beats Penn State. They're playing in Pennsylvania. I think, Northwestern could have a little sneaky game. They could come out, have those, what was that season where they were really good? Anybody know? Okay. There's one season where I just remember them being like pretty good. And then I've been the king of parlays. I've been the king of parlays. Dallas said it today. Are you going to parlay another game? Heck yes, I am. I'm going to the NFL here. This is tough, guys. I'm not going to lie. I'm struggling. Goodness, these are, man, what are some of these dumpster fire games like Chicago, New York? I mean,
this is a bad NFL week for
some
good
slate's
football.
Tragic. Goodness, some of these ticket prices too. Wow. I'm gonna go with Washington. No, I can't say Washington beats Dallas. It's Carson Wentz versus Cooper Rush. It's the battle of the gingers. I mean, all right, you know what? I'm airing it out. New England beats Green Bay. Lock it in. New England are due. This could be a very bad week for me. I could go 0 for 2. But Rishi, this is for you saying that I take layups. I don't take layups anymore. New England's going to beat Green Bay. It's going to be a really good win. I don't think Mac Jones is going to play. I hope Bailey Zappi somehow comes in and goes full FCS mode on these kids and just becomes a gamer and wins the game. But, I could be wrong, could be right. Well, gentlemen, it's been a great show. We are glad to have all of you all here with us today, and we'll see you guys next week with maybe some more NBA predictions, definitely some more NFL hot takes. Hopefully we're going to see some more coaches slamming their headsets against the desk too. So have a great rest of your weekend, and remember, watch some sports. Be on next week if you want to, and we'll be glad to take your hot takes.